they all had a lovely time and laughed and laughed and laughed as the full moon slowly rose up in the sky over Peasville. Oh, Peasville is such a lovely place. Even the critters are a surprise.
This is Shayla House. It's been here over 100 years, and I'm here to measure the chamfer boards, the weatherboards and chamfer boards, all the different boards in it, so I can reproduce them in HO scale. First thing I did was take my bevel. I put my bevel onto the wall, and I put my level across the bevel, the top of the bevel, to give me the angle. That gives me the exact angle of the weatherboard. Now I can go in and produce the jig to make it. So that's the angle, just right there. So let's see how it goes. I'm making another cutter like these here, but I need one to make the second cut of the stressed weatherboard or stressed clapboard. So to start with, I need a block of wood, pine, whatever size you like, and then I need to take the small part of a piece of the balsa. This is 3mm balsa, and I need to cut a section out and stick it to the piece of wood and then put the blade on top of that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use these shaving blades. I picked this up just for a couple of dollars for a whole pack. So I'm going to use them because they make a finer cut than the other blades that I used. Actually, that's not the blade, that's the wrapping. So I'm going to take this out here. It's all stuck down. And this is the blade, double-sided, but I'm not going to screw it like I did the others. I'm going to actually stick it down onto the board here at the right depth, so I can cut the second cut of the weatherboard or clapboard to make up the distressed clapboard so that I want to make. So I'm just using a PVA to put the balsa down, and I select the straightest edge to place down. That's that one, and I've got a pencil line to keep it above there. That's about it. And then I use araldite to actually put the blade down. I used to screw them, but I've changed my mind on screwing them, and I screw them down. The cost of the araldite is basically next to nothing. So now, oh, slid. Can't let that happen. Should have used the araldite on putting the timber down as well. Might just let that dry. There we go. That's a simple little cutter that I made for all the different timbers, except this time this is the second cut to be made on the distressed weatherboard, and it comes out very, very well. I don't know if you can see that this is actually weatherboard here. It's very fine. So that's the distress. I just put some brown paint on it there. I think you can see that now, the lights are on. So that's upside down. That is distressed weatherboard, and it took me a long time to get to work out how to cut it in a distress mode. I mean, it's easy to cut it really neat when you're using jigs, but I wanted it to be distressed, like old fishing village wharf scenes and things like that. A lot like the ones that I watch, which are Jensen's modelling, but we can't get that ply here in Australia with the profile of weatherboard or clapboard. So I came up with the the idea that we could make the individual boards, time consuming I know, but it would look absolutely fantastic. Individual boards placed down and make it look much older and weathered. It would be a great feat, but not much time I suppose. Now I'm going to cut the slices of 3mm balsa that I make it out of into about 20-foot scale lengths. So there's a join on every second board that is placed down, which gives it far more character than just a straight flat piece of ply that has a pressure plate placed on it in the shape of weatherboard or clapboard. So this should look really good once it's painted up properly. This is just the first test that I did, and I'll carry on. I'm going to stop this now and wait for the glue to dry on the cutter, and we'll carry on. This is the jig which I'll show you how to make at the end, but I get a piece of 3mm balsa here, and I'm going to turn that sharp edge there. I hold it down very tightly and I push it through, and what I end up with is another distress weatherboard. And I need to get a whole heap of these, and they're all different lengths, and I deliberately make them different lengths so there's all joins through the whole distressed pattern when I glue them all down. So this one I'll turn around, check it's the right size, and I'll take one off this one. Now hold it down tight, squeeze it through, and there's another board. This is the 1mm jig. So with the 1mm jig, I turn the piece that I've just taken the weatherboard off, and I put the pointy side up, and then I add the 1mm jig to that. I push it through very firmly, and there I have another weatherboard. So I keep doing that till I get enough weatherboards to make the whole front of a building, and I'll put them all together. I'll paint them first, or dye them. So that's how you do it. This is very simple. I've made a video before on how to make these jigs. They're very, very simple. I don't screw them down anymore. I just I glue them down like on this one. This is 1/8, and it cuts me balsa to the strip wood to the size I want. So I'm cutting a whole heap of weatherboards here, and I'll glue them all down, and they will come out. I don't know if you can see the weatherboard again on there. Yep, there it is there. You can see that that's weatherboard. Distressed weatherboard. Need the shadow on the way up. That's it. So that is distressed weatherboard. And this time I'm going to paint all of these sticks that I have here. I'm going to paint them all first, or dye them all first I should say. I'm getting quite a lot of board here now, and it's enough just about to do the whole face of a building, so I'll just move my board back. This is the pointy end when you run it through this jig. I've said before, but this jig, you need a lot of pressure to hold it down. That's why I've got the jig looking like this rather than like this one. Okay, there's a reason for that, and that is because you need a lot of pressure because you're not cutting it straight, and balsa does have a grain. So you really need to have the pressure on it to keep it down. And these are all now got the sharp end. So we put the sharp end up. Get it in the right place. Sharp end up, and just gently push that across. Like that. Don't try and take it off all at once. Run it the second time, and there's your weatherboard board. Turn it over and do the same. Gently do it, and it comes out one. Another weatherboard. You got heaps of weatherboard doing this. You could do this all day, you know, bit of music playing or whatever. Put that aside for the next cutter. Pick your sharp corner up, run it through, That one came out very well. Sharp corner up. What I mean by sharp corner, it's the thick end of the weatherboard. I don't know if you can see that there. Where am I? You see that there, but you've got the weatherboard has got an angle on it. So that's why I mean the sharp end. The sharp end is the pointy end of the board. Pretty simple to make this stuff. And when you finish that lot, you bring in the next jig and you redo it. Hold it down, plenty of firmness, run it through, and there you have another freshly cut weatherboard. I'm not too good at lining this up on the camera, am I? Another one, and there you have another weatherboard. Very quick, very simple. Put that aside, bring in my next board, run it through, and there you have another weatherboard. Run it through, and you have another weatherboard. Bring in our last piece of wood. I only cut 3 of these, 6 inches or so long. Another weatherboard. Another weatherboard. So there you go. You keep on doing that for a while and you end up with hundreds of weatherboards. And of course that's about enough to do the front of the building that I'm doing. So that's now ready for putting in the stain. Even the small bits, you see, it doesn't matter what size they are with weatherboard, because it's you're going to basically butt it up and use every little tiny bit. There's no wastage at all. Even the feathered bits that when I never had enough pressure on it, all are usable. So there you go, as you can see, all weatherboards. Now I've divided my weatherboards up into 5 different heaps, and the reason for that is I'm going to stain them or wash them in 5 different colours. So when they go together, it'll be extremely random and look very, very old. Just like a fishing village, or a wharf scene or something like that, or an old country barn. You just never know what you want to use distressed weatherboard for, or clapboard, whichever country you're in. I'll carry on. Here I've added a whole lot of different colours. These colours are going to be all filled with water and a bit of PVA, and I'm going to soak the boards in all of these colours for a little while, so they all end up with all the different colours you'd expect on an old weatherboard or something like that. You know, there's a whole heap of colours, and I'm going to put a few boards in each one. And they'll be all they'll look very distressed, believe you me, by the time I'm finished. While all the colours are still wet, I pick them up and put them into another container, making sure I get all of the weatherboards unsunken, all the different colours. What I'm going to do is mess them around a bit, so some of the colours will run into each other. Now this is not the final finish, this is just the background for painting, distressing, aging, all those kind of words. There, I have all the different bits of paint and everything on there. That's when I dress them up. It's going to look like all the paint's fallen off the building. It's been painted a very, very long time ago, and there are some boards still in there with the original colours and all that on them. And I'll get the sponge and go over them and really get right into making it quite presentable. That looks like there's going to be enough there to do the first front of the building. Well, there you go. I'll let that all dry out in the sun and I'll carry on. Okay, now we have the first part of our jig, and we need to take the bevel. I took the angle of the side of the weatherboards of the Shaler house, and I'm going to transfer that angle onto here like that, and I'll use a saw and a file to do that. As you can see, at the moment it's just a square thing, and I have the angle of the weatherboard. So use my file and a saw to cut that, and that way I will have the correct angle of the weatherboard. Well, a 100-year-old weatherboard anyway. So I cut away the loose pieces of wood here. I've cut extra cuts in there to make it easier. And now I'm just shaving it down, and then I'll continue filing it to get the correct angle. I don't have any kind of tools that would take that down on an angle like that. So that's it. Just getting it to the correct place anyway. Now, the bevel, check where we are with that angle. We're getting a little bit close, so I just file that up now. Make it a bit smooth. So now I've carved down the all the loose ends of the timber out, and it's pretty close to the angle that I want. When I put the bevel on, I keep checking that to make sure I'm not going too far past the angle. That's correct. That's correct. And I'll just finish filing that to get that nice and smooth. That's the correct angle. Here we are. It's enough of a lip. This one's got a little bit more lip. This is the second jig that I've made. That'll probably be about it. I'll try that. So I'll go and get my razor blades, and I'll cut a razor blade up and add it, araldite it into that that checkout. I've just about got that to the right angle. I will put the bevel on there. Just move that in a bit. I haven't glued it down yet, and that is absolutely spot on. The bevel and the blade are exactly right. So I'll now get out the araldite and I'll put the blade on. Start a new tube. plenty of put plenty of araldite on here so it soaks into the timber where I've been carving it out, and on the blade place it down. I'll take the araldite in the middle out before I do that. Myself a stick. Just cleaned it out. Place the blade down. Like so. Now I just need a little bit of a weight on there. I don't have a small weight. I'll just use the angle of this. No, that won't do either. I'll just have to leave it kind of sit there, and hopefully that sticks down. I'll just crowd it in on these little bits here on the end. That should make it nice and tight when that all dries. Okay, now that's the end of that's how you make the jig. It's not complicated. It's a little bit tricky getting that angle right, but once you got that angle right, you can make as many weatherboards as you like. And this is my batch of weatherboards that I've already done. They don't take long because I've coloured each board individually in different packs. I get all the different colours, and of course I put a black wash or whatever colour wash you want to put over that, and some of the main colours I've got in the background all show through, and it looks like it's distressed weatherboard. Now it is weatherboard. You can see that, if you can see that angle there, there's an angle that way, and that way it's totally smoothed down, and that way there it's the, I'll just get that in the right light, you can see that is real weatherboard. Okay, now it doesn't take long to adhere. I'll stick a few pieces down onto a card. I've just used card here, and put some stiffening brackets on the back, sticks on the back, just any size I had laying around, and I usually use 8mm or 6mm or 5mm square to do that in the buildings. This is the back wall of a little building, and showed you earlier, this is the a weatherboard sample that I did when I first made the cut. I wanted to just see if the weatherboards were true, and they are, and distressed, which is exactly what I want to do for the harbour that I'm going to be building. If anybody has seen the Jason Jensen videos and Foss Models and a lot of the other modelers around, they use ply and they lift all the sheets up. Well, this is all pre-done, all the individual boards and all that type of stuff, and it looks more authentic. And not knocking their work, it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I can watch it all day, and that's how it all kind of happens. So the next shot I will do will be actually laying some of it and show you how fast it is to work. I'll just make a very quick small piece of a wall in here. I won't even square it up. I'll just cut this piece. This is just a piece of 1.5mm balsa. I'll just guess it. It's not going to be accurate at all. So I've got a small piece here. Now I just want to take an angle off there. I'll use the same angle that we're using here, I suppose. That'd be good. There, turn it over. There we go, that'll do. Quite skew-if, but never mind. This exercise is just to show how quick it is to actually lay the weatherboards. It'll stick off there. It could be a garage end or something like that, you know. Okay, so I get my trusty woodworking glue. I'll move that over into the center a bit, and hopefully that will come up. I put some glue on the back, just a little bit, not all the way up. I use my finger, I shouldn't, but I use my finger to level that glue out, leave it a bit juicy. There you go. And I start with my first board. Now when you check the boards, you can see that which is the top end and the bottom end of them. So I put my first board down like that. Quite simple. That's bowing already, that ply. I should have put some pieces on the back, but that'll do. There. I'll get some different coloured pieces. The hardest part, because it's only 1/2 millimetre difference from the top to the bottom, it's a bit difficult sometimes to actually discover which is the correct angle of the boards to put down. Check each one. You see, we're starting to get distressed weatherboard feeling coming up there now. All the little bits you can use up. Don't throw any away. Glue. I shouldn't have used the glue on my finger on the glue. It's sticking it, it's picking up all the boards. So it doesn't take long to do a whole house up like this. It's quite quick actually. It's very difficult to find the ply or anything to do here, but you end up with a very distressed weatherboard model, which is exactly what I'm looking for the harbour that I'm going to be building. Even your little bits can get put on there. Most times the blade will run to the grain, and it gives you all these different shapes and sizes here for the weatherboard, which makes it even look better when you come to do the complete building. It really looks old. If you're after modern things, or you can do the same too, just make very clear shaped weatherboards that doesn't have all different colours and all that in it. I won't rub it in with my finger this time, I'll use a stick. There you go. It goes up that way. It is difficult to tell the top from the bottom because it is true to scale and it is exactly the same shape, angle I should say, as the real thing. So that makes it, and there's not much difference between those when you put them together. Where'd that come from? So that's how I build the walls. Very simple, and it doesn't take long at all. No piece is too small to use, so there's absolutely no wastage really. So that'll do. You see how quick it is? I'll just put my weight on there now. That's about the width of the weight, and that will seal it all in. There you go. And that's what we end up with, is all these various colours. Of course, that's not the finished colour. I mean, you can leave it like that if you wish, but you get a brown or white wash, or even whitewash looks really great on it as well as a black wash. So you can put any kind of wash on it, and the colours in the background show through just enough to make it look like it's all old painted, and the building's very old and been painted a dozen times. So that's it. That is distressed weatherboards. So this is the longboard, and of course your building goes together, you know, like that, and it enables you to build a distressed building. You cut your doorways in. This is just on card as a sample of what I did. And the next thing I will do is, on this jig, is to put a couple of braces just on the side. So I will cut just a couple of small pieces of bracing. I won't go to all the trouble of getting out the chopper. I'll just chop these two pieces like this. I do recommend you do this if you are building it, because it does need a bit of bracing. Remember the pressure that's going onto that blade when you actually are pushing the balsa through. Even though it's balsa, it's still pretty tight stuff. So that just gives a bit of extra bracing. Put that on both sides. Just rest that on the blade, and it will adhere to the guides and become nice and stiff. There you go. That is the jig finished. Very simple, and you end up with distressed weatherboard that you can use on any kind of building you like. You don't have to use these colours. I use every colour that I've got basically. I've introduced orange to it now too. So when you paint over with white, or a white wash, or a black wash, a brown wash, you end up with all different coloured buildings. It looks very, very old. Okay, thank you very much.